Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
That's terrible. You've done so much better.
Well, I figured you were excited about the new mic, so I figured that I would screw it up and not even use my normal voice for it.
Yeah, so this is episode 40, and it took us 40 episodes, but we finally got Tyler's audio upgraded, and I'm excited.
Justin's more excited than me, but I'm really excited too.
Well, I'm excited because editing,
he's the sound nerd.
Yeah, editing makes it so much nicer now that when you don't talk, the floor is quiet for your audio. That's not normal. That's not normal at all.
It was like jungle sounds before.
Yeah. It was like fans running like right here.
with no fans.
Constantly playing.
Yeah.
Anyway, episode 40. That's like
welcome.
A third of 120. So I don't know.
We're basically there, man.
That's pretty much something.
As Lloyd Christmas said, we're there, man.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Real quick thank you to patrons that joined up this week, Theater and Chorus. Thank you both for joining the crew, and for everybody else that's supporting us through Patreon and everybody else that's just listening. You guys are awesome. And yeah, you make it fun for us every single week.
Very much. Do you remember when we were considering whether or not we would have a Discord channel for the podcast?
Like early on.
Well, yeah, early-ish. We did quite a few episodes without one, and then, the suggestions came through. But do you remember what the podcast was like before that? Because I can't imagine what this podcast would be like without all of the amazing folks that we now chit-chat on a regular basis with in Discord. It's really cool. It's an awesome element to it, and I'm glad it was encouraged to us.
Yeah, Discord's been tons of fun. If you are listening and you aren't on our Discord, you should hop on, because first off, they know much more about Path of Exile, at least builds wise. I can't even keep up with the posts. Like, you're doing a real good job of keeping up with it. Most of the time when I open it, it's like 50 new messages. I'm like, oh crap. I got to like check and see. And I try and get in there every now and then. The thing is, if I give you a little thumbs up, if it's on like a past message, you probably don't even know, right? Because you don't get a notification that somebody gave you like a high five.
I don't know. Depends on notification settings. But it's cool. It's not a paid thing. You don't have to be a patron to join it. Nope. It's just a really cool community. There's a lot of very helpful people there. You can mute the channel if you're not up for chit-chatting often. But the nice thing about it is that, like Justin and I, we know the game well, but we only know certain portions of the game well. There's certain areas of the game that have never interested us. And as a result, we're never going to be able to help people with those aspects of the game. Come in, you have a whole bunch of people that are excited to help out, and they're willing to help out, and they've experienced the game and crushed it. So you get some good advice. Yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking I couldn't imagine the podcast without our Discord channel now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was good. I'm glad people convinced us to start that up. How was your week, Ty?
Oh, it was a good week, man. It was a good week.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
Tell me.
It was a lot of indoor stuff outside of chores. Normally it's easy to get kids out for exercise with the dog, but I think I mentioned it last week, but our dog tore her ACL, like just totally ripped it apart. So she's going to be limping for 3/4 of a year.
Normal for a dog?
No, she had issues with it, and then she was an idiot and chased a cat across the street, and then all of a sudden I heard a huge yelp and she couldn't walk back to our yard across the street. So
do you have to take her into the vet? To find out that?
Well, yeah, we took her to the vet to figure it out. One, to make sure that it wasn't something more serious, I guess, though a torn ACL is pretty. But I mean, it was nice because all we had to pay for was the visit. There was an option where we could pay $3,000 to $5,000 Canadian to get it fixed, and she'd be up and running at 85% in a couple months. Or we could do the long process of slowly exercising it out and just doing the natural version, which takes about 6 months, but that doesn't cost any money. So
do you guys have insurance on your dog?
No.
So when we got our dog, we got insurance on this thing, and you
can tell how much you like it because you call it a thing.
It's making me, well, it just so happens I was speaking to the lady who was cutting my hair this week, and her rest of her summer vacation funds have disappeared because of her 2 dogs. Something happened with them, and so the vet bill ended up eating up all the money that she had for that.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to her, and I through that conversation mentioned that we got insurance on our dog when we bought it, which for some reason has even increased. Like this last year, somehow it went up. I pay more for this dog's insurance than my own life insurance monthly. That doesn't make any sense. You
got duped, man.
I think it covers like 80%. So when something goes wrong, it covers 80% of the cost. I still have to pay 20%.
You must love your dog.
I shouldn't say this out loud because this is what goes on in my head. And it has been said out loud to my wife. But if I ever have to put out a large amount of money for my dog, I will try to opt to just let her be. Whatever that might mean.
Well, I'm on the opposite end of the dog spectrum as you. I love my dog dearly. And the next one I get, I will love just as much. But I am on the same mentality. I just can't fathom spending more money than I would even consider spending on my family, for an animal. And I consider them like a family member, but I just can't. So I was very glad that there was a legitimate, not a cheapo, but a legitimate option for my dog that, could get better. Instead of being 85% for the rest of her life, her knee will be 75%, but it's not going to cost half of my kids. Well, yeah, for a mini Labradoodle, she's getting there. She's like 60 in human years, the vet was saying. He said, pretend that a 65-year-old tore her ACL playing badminton. Here are the options she's going to get, and I'm giving the same options to you. He's a legit guy. He's not trying to get money from us, so he's really good. But anyway, my week is mostly indoors now because I'm not getting the kids out to go for a walk. I can't take the dog for a walk, right? Because we're at the stage where she's just supposed to be laying around doing moderate stuff. So it's been pretty indoors, which I guess is nice. It was mid-30s all week, wasn't it? Celsius.
Yep. It was nice your week? Except the last 2 days.
Oh, I love the last 2 days. It was like a little bit of rain, a little bit of not, low 20s. Oh, it was nice. I love that rain air. Breathe that in.
I agree. Except I need sun right now. We finished our wall the weekend after we recorded the last episode.
All right.
So that part's done. That was brutal, man. Freaking 18-inch blocks. They're 75 pounds each. We had 116 of them.
Wow.
It was a lot. I was not happy. And it was stupid hot that weekend. So
how are you moving them?
Originally, 2 at a time in a wheelbarrow. And after the third run, so the 6th brick, I was like, oh, I am not doing this. This is absolutely ridiculous. So I hooked up that thing that allowed my suitcases to burn up to my car. And it can hold up to 500 pounds. So we could have technically loaded 6, but by the time we put 4 on, we were like, whoa, that is low. So we took them 4 at a time. And because the wall is on the opposing side of my driveway, I basically would drive it out of the driveway back into the neighbor's driveway, then drive out of his driveway back into my driveway. And I just kept going back and forth until we had moved 116 stones.
And they were cool with that?
Oh, yeah. He's been awesome through it. I mean, what does he care? He's getting a brand new wall. I don't even get to enjoy it. This wall, we paid for it. And it's on, it faces his property. So he's got this like nice, beautiful charcoal Allen brick wall. And I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I see nothing. So this week, actually, we had to order more stones to finish like how it's going to tie in. Because right now it was just to stop it from falling into his property. But what was the rest of my week was work.
Yeah. You got a buddy to help out. One of our construction buddies. Yeah. He's an awesome guy. I don't know if we should say his name, but he's awesome.
No, he was awesome. And I mean, he like was manning the whole thing. And then this is actually kind of funny. We had plans to do the work on the Saturday, but I didn't find out we were going to do the work on the Saturday until I was away. Like while I was away, our buddy messaged me. He said, hey, Saturday's the day I can do it. Let's do Saturday. I was like, oh crap. We had invited some friends over on the Saturday because their 2 kids are the same age as my 2, like close to the age of our 2 youngest. So they were going to come over and play. And I was like, well, I don't want to tell them because then they might not come and they all want to play. So I'll just leave it and they can just do their thing and I'll just have to go help with the wall. So we're working outside doing the wall, sweating, just like dying outside. Like 1 o'clock rolls around and our friends got here with their kids and they saw us all working outside. And the husband, who's also a friend of friend of ours, not me and you, but a friend of my wife and I.
Yeah, that blasphemous other group of friends you have.
Yeah,
I know.
So sort of like the better group of friends that I have. But I came into the house to just say like, hey, I'm going to be working outside, but thanks for coming, blah, blah, blah. I came into the house. He was already stripping. He had whipped off his shirt. He had pulled off his shoes and he's like, hey, just get me a shirt, get me some shoes. I'm in. And so I got him like some clothes, and he came out and sweat for the whole afternoon. He was actually mad I didn't tell him sooner so that they could have come earlier. And then he actually came back the next day to help us finish the wall. So
wow, good people with good hearts. Hey,
it was oh man, it was good because the next day my back was done. The following day I was done. So yeah, it was really good.
Now, is this one of your shoe fetish buddies?
Yep.
Excellent, considering you took his shoes off and asked for new shoes to help you with hardware.
You don't wear shoes you wear out to work.
I wear flip-flops every single day, everywhere I go.
I want to see you lift a 75-pound brick using flip-flops.
No, I live the concussion life. Sorry, my apologies. I can't help.
You got like the built-in excuse.
I know I look like a young, strapping man, but unfortunately, I cannot help you with your groceries, old lady. My apologies.
Right. I'm in my flip-flops. No. Can't do it.
Read the room.
That's awesome. Well, that's good. Yeah, so that was
you had a good week.
Basically my week. My week was a wall. Going to be doing it again this week. Super excited for it. So real quick before we get into our PoE weeks, we want to announce that we're going to do a private league server thing. What do they call them? It's just a private league?
Private league. Way to go. Way to nail it.
Yeah, nice I got that one down. You can tell how well I practiced that part. I know there's a lot of private leagues going on right now, and there's a lot of races, which we're just going to chat about shortly here. Not me and you. It's not really our thing. It's cool, but we're not the speedy racing type playing it, watching it. All right. So there are a lot of other private leagues, so I get it, but we wanted to do one that is specifically for Forever Exiled. We won't be promoting it anywhere else. You'll find the information on our Discord. So unfortunately, if you're not on Discord, you're going to need it. But we're going to have a race, or not a race, good God, a private league that goes from the 24th of August. So it'll start the day after episode 42, and it's going to go for 10 days. It's going to be, this is totally not a Tyler and I league. We are going to suck. My goal is not to be last. It's going to be a hardcore. Don't like that. Solo self-found. Don't like that.
Love it.
League. And so it's not going to be any crazy mods because we're not that insane. Like, we'd like to actually enjoy it a little bit. So it's going to be a solo self-found hardcore league, but we're also going to have 2 rewards. One will be for whoever gets to the highest level, and one will be for whoever gets the deepest delve, because those are the 2 things that GGG lets us track. There's not much else that they let us track by default. So we're going to have a $60 award for each of them. Reward? $60 reward, not an award.
No, that sounds like reverse. I think it's reward.
Yeah.
My wife was making fun of me today for how I pronounce certain things. What was
so
it?
Many.
Oh yeah, my favorite spice. I cook with this all the time. Coriander.
Yeah.
But she says coriander. Yeah. Right? She emphasizes the O. I say coriander. And I sound like an idiot.
You do that with like a lot of words.
It says like reverse or reverse.
Reverse.
Right? Right. So what was the word we were just talking about?
Reward.
Yeah. Is it reward or reward?
What? I don't think there's any like strong anything. It's reward. Am I?
Well, that's it. So ord is like, it's
the
emphasis
R and
on the wrong syllable, right?
Syllable. You're the worst person. Okay. Anyway, we're going to have
syllable.
A private league going from August 24th to whatever 10 days is after that. I don't know, 3rd-ish of September.
Okay.
And
date math sucks.
Yeah, we'll have information on a Discord in the announcement section. We will have a reward for deepest delve, highest level, $60. The way that GGG does it is you just get a $60 credit into your account and you can use it for whatever you want. You know?
Awesome.
Anything.
I thought we were giving a car away. We've been forgetting.
The car is coming. Yeah, that car is coming. Boy, have we forgotten to talk about that one. Yeah,
but
maybe in 3.12. So just a heads up though, with regards to with regards to this league though, we won't be talking about it next episode because we have a special. Our 3.11 interview is next week. Ooh, excited! Nobody knows.
No, I am excited.
So episode what is that? 41? Yeah, episode 41 is next week. So we won't be talking about it in that one. So make sure you're on our Discord to find out. And then the following week, episode 42, obviously we'll talk about it because it can start the day after that. And it's hardcore solo self-found. So it's not like there's a rush. You don't win for getting there first. It's a tortoise versus the hare.
It is one. Oh man, you're going to do my defense first. You're going to do one of my defense first guides. This is so for me.
Like, I'm not trying
hardcore.
For anything.
I'm fine dying, but I'm a defense first kind of person. And
I just want the achievements. I don't have any of the hardcore achievements in the game. This is how I'm going to get them.
Oh, you're not allowed to get achievements in private leagues, just so you know.
What?
I don't know if that's true.
I better be able to. Because you can only make it harder, so you should be able to. How was your PoE week, Ty?
Oh, I had a PoE week. It was good. It was actually a lot of theory crafting. I'm still on that like theme of like redoing some of my guides for like a blue gem build, a red minion gem build, and a green minion gem build. Well, I've figured out a way with the Raider, not the Guardian or the Necromancer. I've been on PoE Ninja all week figuring stuff out, and I've been looking at, the green minion gems, which I know there's a few more, but they're mostly just movement skills. So it's basically just Animate Weapon and Herald of Agony.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been looking at PoE Ninja, just seeing what they do. I'm pretty sure I had my build set, but I wanted to double check because I'm not very familiar with minion-based stuff staying on the east side of the tree. And so I only check hardcore stuff, right? I only check for people that don't want to die. And so I'm just checking Harvest Hardcore and then Solo Self-Found Harvest Hardcore on PoE Ninja. And everybody is either a Juggernaut, a Necromancer, or a Guardian. The Guardian and the Necromancer have their pros and cons for huge offensive capabilities for minions. And the Juggernaut is just amazing defense, right? So you're sacrificing lots of offense for defense. But I really want it to be on the east side of the tree. So I've been mixing a whole bunch of ideas.
You can say because
that is what I'm going to say. It's just because I think it would be neat to actually have an efficient one. Like, how cool would that be to have like, hey, this build for this ascendancy that totally doesn't match it, but I made it work really well. And the one, like the Guardian is defense only, right? Champion in a minion world, which is what I'm doing with my Dominating Blow build. That's defense only for the most part. It has some nice offensive perks, but it's picked for defense only. Same with Gladiator for that kind of thing. So I really like the Raider for that, because the Raider with a Herald of Guardian, even an Animate Weapon, it's pure defense, pure defense. So it's all about phasing, avoiding elemental ailments, the dodge chance. It's 10% attack and for spell damage, and then you onslaught for movement speed, and then the increased onslaught effectiveness for Cyclone, which is how I'm applying my poison for virulence. And it's so I really like it, but I've been playing with that like crazy this week. And besides that, I actually barely played PoE because it was hanging out with buddies online, like some Red Dead and some Madden. And so I did get to play some PoE. I think I broadcasted once, maybe twice since our last podcast recording, but I did play a couple times, kind of after hours where I was too tired to communicate type of thing. So I just played for maybe an hour one night or the other, but had a good time leveling the Dominating Blow build. So I finally unlocked all my Watchstones, as I mentioned a week or two ago, and I haven't done anything with it since because I started leveling. So I've kind of wasted the excitement of the freedom, finally, of not needing to be so map specific all the time. But anyway, I had a good PoE week. Did you play it all?
Yeah, we played on Monday, which was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was nice.
I was away the week before. I don't remember. I don't remember. Actually, I think even the week before that, I wasn't feeling great. So I don't think we had played for actually quite a while. So yeah, it was fun. I'm still doing the ball lightning. The one problem now, though, is I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the private league, because I'm not a great solo self-found and I don't like hardcore. So I'm not sure how much I'll play around with my own build. I'm probably going to have to look into some things that tend to be more successful in the hardcore solo self-found, I probably will go with like RF, early RF. I feel like is probably my strongest choice.
Yeah, CI,
or
early
CI.
RF.
Yeah, like what can I
If
do?
you
14?
need any advice, just give me a shout, right? Give me a shout.
A CI at 14 roughly?
That's pushing it. 16 is fine. 14.
What did you do yours at?
It was 16.
Was it 16?
It was 16.
Oh, you're scared.
It was, well, obviously it wasn't a good idea, but it was
16
fun.
direct? Is that the fastest you can get to it?
I don't know if it was. I was just following my tree. I hug the right, just like how I map, man. I hug the right of my maps. I hug the right of my tree. I don't care if it's all life or all damage. You're the easiest
person to get lost in a map. Because if you turn left, Tyler's head just shuts off and he's like, what happened? Or when
you missed a right.
Oh, but it's hilarious when you miss a right.
I miss rights all the time. You're hugging the right.
Especially
You're
with doors.
mapping for me. You're super nice. You're doing it for me, and I miss it all the time. I'm like, where'd you go? Where'd you go? I just hugging the right, Ty.
All the time.
Yeah. Hey, before we move on, I want to shout out Wolf on or Wolves or Wolf. My apologies. Just a minute. Wolves on Discord. This week, coming up in PoE, I'm going to be playing a little bit of my PC characters, if I can get the PC from my wife from Sims, because I was gifted by Wolves a headhunter. And I've never played with one before, so I want to check it out. I want to see how it works. I want to have fun with it. So thank you, Wolves.
How much did you pay him? Sounds like RMT, Tyler.
It was a smile.
Ooh.
It was a smile.
Smiles.
Yes.
Like a physical smile? How did he see your smile?
Well, it's a good thing that they can't see me, because they probably would have taken it back if they saw my real smile. It's like one of those things where you're hanging out with people. People's laughs are contagious. You're having a great time. And then somebody smiles, and it's like one of those smiles you're like, oh, and you don't mean to, but it stops everybody from laughing. Is this where crickets come in?
I should add some crickets. I'm going to have so much more time now to edit it now that your mic isn't so crappy. All right. So let's get into this week in PoE. No patch notes. What the heck?
Cool.
What do we talk about? Remember, weren't we at one time told that that's all we do? We just read patch notes. We're what's the thing called? Fanboys, and we read patch notes. That's it. All
we do is read patch notes. But you know what? Patch notes are good to talk about. Gives you lots to talk about. But if our first 2 episodes, I know it wasn't patch note. Well, I guess they are patch notes. They were like the dev manifesto and then the league launch for our first 2 episodes ever. Whew. Well, those are rough, eh?
The beginning of every league is always going to have tons of
but our patch notes and dev notes are better than they were the first go around. I'm just saying, like, our episode 1 and 2, if that's where you're going to start to listen to us, we're probably going to lose people. They had a pretty cool note for the 312 timeline, which was quite nice. That was in one of their announcements. Yeah, I did. I mean, I'm excited about it. It's one of those unique leagues, 311, because Chris in the 311 hype prior to 311's launch was actually hyping 312 accidentally as well. And I mean, that was really cool. In retrospect, we know that 311 was launched as like a very generous feel good COVID league, and 312 was, in a way, as far as they were concerned, going to be 311 at some point. So I could see, we now in retrospect see the tie-in, but they were saying 312 now, which I guess has been hyped all 311, not just this point, but 312 is going to be launched, hopefully, September 18th for PC, which nobody cares about, and September 23rd for console, which is announced on the 1st.
So announced on the 1st, which is sweet. So we'll find out about whatever 312 is on the 1st, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's just around the corner. It's today. I mean, for our recorded date, it's August 7th for us. So that's only 3 weeks away, and that's really cool. And there was I actually kind of like this little snippet, so I'm sorry to read to everybody listening, but I just wanted to read this part because this was at the end of their 312 announcement of the announcement. We are particularly excited about our 312 expansion. There's a fair amount of internal buzz about the ways in which it differs to existing core content. That's all we can say for now without revealing all of our plans and schemes. I thought that was kind of cool because you've mentioned a few times that 311 seems kind of out of left field for Path of Exile. Maybe it's not, right? I haven't paid too much attention to it for reasons we've previously discussed, but it's cool that they're saying 312 is out of left field considering we're playing something that some people feel 311's out of left field. So I'm excited about it. I'm always excited about it. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, every league announcement to me is awesome. It always is. I don't care how weirdo it is, like Harvest. Harvest, though, wasn't as weird at when they announced it. I found it weirder as we've played it, but I don't care how weird 312 is. I'm fine with it. Let's go to space.
Yeah.
Give us some ships, getting some Armada, getting to Drox.
Oh, man. Love those space RPGs. And there's also a racing event coming up starting August 22nd. So if you're interested in details like that, I mean, check out the announcement page.
Yeah. So there's a race happening right now. It's a China race. And I know there's a bunch of people taking part in it. I don't know much else about it just because we're both not really big into the racing scene. I don't know how, apparently, I think it's the same as what's coming up on the one on the 22nd. They're playing it with like all the monster mods are turned on. So it's like ultimately hard to play. That doesn't sound fun.
How do you play the Chinese version of the game out here? Like I saw Rays and Tai, and they were playing, and everything's in Chinese in a very different style of English text as well. I see their region, their map was in a different language, but
there must be some way.
Still on like the Texas server or whatever server it would be. I don't get how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. From what I understand, though, I don't think you're technically on the Texas server, because I know that for North American players, they're playing with like on average 1 to 200 ping on this server. So that to me makes it even harder, because now you're playing like with these ultimately hard monsters, and you're doing it at a ping that is, there's a bit of a delay in what you're doing. Just seems crazy. Apparently, I think this racing event, the racing event that's happening, I think was organized by Zizaran, and they've like crowdfunded money for the rewards for it, and it's up to like it was a lot. I think the last time I heard it was like $10,000, $12,000 that they've raised for this event.
It pays to be popular.
It's pretty well. It's like tons of streamers though that are all raising money for it, and people are just putting in their own money for it, and it's like they're creating a prize pool to then like 30% goes to first place. I don't know. I don't remember what all the splits are after that, but it seems pretty cool. I think it's being like I don't know. I don't remember what Octavian said they're called. Shoutcasted, broadcasted by Ziggy D and Brittle Knee. So they'll be like announcing it, doing the whole thing,
That's for this current one, or for the one that's coming up on the 22nd?
Gotcha. So it's, I don't remember how. I think it was a 7-day period. I don't know the details, but yeah, there is a racing event coming. I think there's a lot more of like the community stuff trying to be made for that, which is pretty cool. I won't be part of it just because I don't prefer being in last. I need to be first page at least.
One of us needs to be a racer, though. I nominate you. I'm busy with guides, so
I don't want to.
Congratulations. Oh, have a great time. I really hope you do well.
Okay, you'll see me.
Okay. Hey, but you could use all your sweet new MTX that came out this week. I'm actually kind of liking the live animal theme that they have going on. I'm digging it. They came out with a cat.
I'm going to let you get back to your animals in a minute. I'm going to go a little Kanye West here and take the mic from you. They came out with a Celestial Warcry, and that made me so happy, because wasn't I just joking about that in one of our last episodes where I was like, oh, they're going to have to go Celestial with the Warcries. I love it.
They probably in 3.8, they're like, oh man, one of the artists is like, I hear they're going to be redoing Warcries in the next couple of years. I'm going to get these all ready to go.
Just in case.
Right? And they're waiting. And then, it's like, oh shoot, we just came out with this this Celestial one. Oh, we got to wait at least a week to release. And then, anyway. Yeah. But you know what?
It actually looks cool. I saw it.
They added something, a cool animation to it. Now I'm still bitter because I like the black hole version of Celestial from way back in the day. So I'm still bitter that they changed it. But I like this Celestial Warcry in a way because it actually adds constellations.
Yeah, it looks random too. It doesn't look like it's the same every time.
Yeah, it's gold. Sometimes it's purple. Like it actually looks kind of neat. Unfortunately, it still looks like it's that overwhelming skin where it doesn't let you see any of the danger.
But it's a Warcry, so you're just doing it quick. It's not the same as like RF that's always on. I just love that there was a Celestial Warcry. I don't care about any of the other stuff. As soon as I saw a Celestial Warcry, it was somebody even said it in Discord, and I was like, what? No, they're lying. There was no celestial war cry, so I had to go and look at that point. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. I'm so happy.
That's hilarious. Well, they came out with a cat. What else? They also had oh man. So they have the Doom Crow wings, which is cool. One of my old school favorite skills is SRS. And then a long time ago, they came out with crows as an SRS skin. And so now they have a pet, right? All these crows flying. They called it a flock, but it's actually a murder.
Isn't it the crows, actual Doom wings Crow that are making the crows?
Oh, maybe.
I think that's what it is. It's kind of weird.
But who has seen the Mighty Ducks isn't thinking the flying bee? Come on. Obviously you are. I mean, they're crows. It's a murder of crows instead of a quack, quack of ducks, but quack, quack, quack. All right, fine. I'm sure the Mighty Ducks was awesome global. That was probably a huge hit. That wasn't just a North American thing. I'm sure there was hockey's cool, right?
Yep.
Well, Europe likes hockey.
Mighty Ducks was great.
Yeah.
I didn't think that when I saw the crows, but Mighty Ducks was awesome.
And people in the South are like, hockey? So anyway, they came out with a cool Undead Outcast helmet. It's like bloody bandages over your face. That's pretty cool. 2 Automatron stuff, a complete Automatron lightning armor set, and Automatron Ice Crash. And honestly, anything you make for Ice Crash is awesome because it's a huge skill, but it expands really slow now. It's not fast like it used to be. So you really get your money's worth with an Ice Crash MTX for sure. And then what else? So yeah, Celestial Warcry, skip right over that. But cool constellations. Next.
I'm so happy about it. They had a lot of sweet art that they came out with this week. Man, the stuff people can make is crazy.
Oh, like there's drawings, paintings, sculptures. I am impressed with every single one.
Yeah. There, one of the things they had in there was the guy that we used for the video, one of our videos, past ones. And he asked streamers to come up with different bosses and then he drew them. He was listed in one of their things too.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. There's one I want to shout out. This totally reminded me of our old school RTS sessions, right? Like LAN parties and all of the games we used to play before PoE came out. There was an Age of Exile instead of like Age of Empires.
Yeah.
It was the same logo, same like animation. Oh, it was awesome, but it was Age of Exile. And oh man, that just right away it brought me back. And I'm like, oh my goodness, merging 2 of our favorite games. How cool is that?
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Age of Exiler.
It was Nat Sat Able. Nat Sata Able. Thank you.
That's what I was going to say. Did you weren't that interested in the last set of harvest stats released because I guess there's so much info. What?
I saw these stats. Yeah. Okay, go over it.
I'm just saying.
Did you like this one?
But honestly, no. But that's because I didn't play the league, right? Like none of that matters to me at all.
Well, why would you care how many times people enchanted a map? I like stats that mean something. These stats meant nothing. How many times? Yeah. Okay, how many times did you get reforge a rare item with a new random modifiers, including a caster modifier? 8.5 million. Okay, cool. I stats to me need cool. to be what? Shut your pie hole. That's cool. It's dumb. It's not I get it. I mean, the one benefit is if you're literally taking a dump and you want to read something absolutely boring. Sure, maybe. Then you can be like, oh, cool. You added a random influence 124,000 times. That's pretty sweet. I didn't get any of those, but that's cool. I like some of the stats. Okay. And I'm fine. I'll give you those. Let's say those are all right. And their first one about how many times. One thing that I thought was crazy. I'm going to just go on a rant here. Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times an item was 6-linked? 22,309. That seems ridiculously low in the grand scheme of, and let me just tell you why, because there were of the condensed, I don't know, let's say condensed wild seed. For some reason, they needed to let us know that there were 16,832,930,560 of them planted.
That's a good number.
What?
Hey, that's cool information. They need to know that kind of stuff based on how much something's showing up. But We don't. I mean, but it's cool for them to share it. I don't know what to do with that information
fine,
on my end.
Sure. Okay. It's fine for them to put it out there, but this is like, I just read that, I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this is just as dumb as the last ones. Like these aren't, I don't find them to be useful stats. I like stats that are like, I would love to see stats about the league, like the player base.
Ascendancies.
Like something
ascendancies.
That I don't care that there were 3 billion primal seeds. And
hey, GGG. Okay, Justin, that's enough. GGG, if you're listening, don't listen to Justin. He doesn't care about stats, but everyone else likes stats and keeps sending stats. Thank you.
Some of these are just dumb, Tyler.
Also, I'm still giggling about your taking a dump comment. You're only going to read this if you're taking a dump. It got me thinking about like when you go to visit a house and you see like stacks of, I don't know, like Calvin and Hobbes or, you know, Herman, you know, those like comics books. So you can like sit there for a long time. And anytime you see books or something where people are like used to spending time there, you're like, oh man, too much time spent on this seat. I got to hurry this one up. Right. But if you're ever visiting somewhere and there's nothing near the toilet, it's just what you need, then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm more comfortable. I always feel like when I'm going somewhere and there's like a legit amount of reading material there, I'm like, you know what? I can hold it.
I don't feel like I've seen a whole lot of reading material in many bathrooms anymore, unless you're in an older person's home. Well, like still. A Reader's Digest.
Oh, man. Oh, nothing like Reader's Digest. There's some good stuff.
Anyway, whatever. And it's stats. They're fine. They're whatever.
Cool. Reader's Digest has lots of cool stats.
I'll bet you they're more exciting than those stats were.
Next.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so just real quick, there was an article that came out, and I just wanted to bring it up because I thought because people started freaking out about it. So there was a thing with regards to Trump saying that he's got an issue with TikTok, and I think it's called WeChat. It's a Chinese like chat program, and the companies that own them had 45 days to sell off basically the American used versions of these companies or something to that effect. And people freaked out because one of those companies is Tencent, which owns, I think they own WeChat. And so he said that they had effective in 45 days, basically transactions with them would be prohibited. And so people on Twitter and all over the place on Reddit and stuff started freaking out because Tencent owns like 80% of the video game industry. It's crazy. I didn't realize actually how much they own until I started reading about them. They literally own everything. So people started freaking out about it, but it was released in like whatever. I don't even know who it is. White House people said video game companies that are owned by Tencent are not going to be affected by this executive order. White House officials confirmed to the LA Times that this does not have any effect on. It basically only affects the WeChat related stuff. It doesn't, because they own like Riot Games, Epic Games, Blizzard. I think they own Ubisoft. Like it's crazy just how much they have ownership of. None of that stuff's affected. So people can just, I don't really know the whole stuff that's going on because I don't really pay attention to the whole TikTok and WeChat. I don't know what WeChat is, but it doesn't affect our games. So
happy days.
Well, probably not happy days, because it seems a little weird that he's doing it anyway, but it doesn't affect us, so I can still play my games.
We have our own politics to worry about up here.
I forgot to mention this, but I played a new game.
If it's Diablo, we know.
Nope. It was Horizon Zero Dawn. It came out on the PC.
Oh,
it was a
right.
PS4 exclusive.
That.
Awesome.
I've heard that is like the PC port of the century, that they did an amazing job.
Well, it just came out today. And if you read the Steam reviews, people were like freaking out, saying negative things about it because I don't know, whatever. I think everybody expects that they should just be allowed to play every game in 4K and it should run perfectly. I loaded it up on my system and it was beautiful. It ran super well. I played it on PS4 and really liked it, but then I hate consoles. Like I hate waiting for 10 minutes for something to load. I don't I don't know. There's something about just turning it on that bothers me.
You know what's going to happen?
Tell me.
God's going to teach you a lesson. He's going to be like, yo, J-Dog, you need some patience. So your computer's going to explode. You know everything about computers, but every computer you make is going to be a dud.
You're telling me
you're going to be forced into console life. for at least a year.
I have 4 kids.
You'll learn to appreciate.
My patience is at its peak. You don't want to test that patience any further. 4 kids is like that's the max. If you go past that, people start to lose their minds.
Hey, according to our Discord, you're like, you got like the bare minimum compared to some people.
Some people on there agreed very much so with me on Discord. 4 kids is nuts.
You are 1 kid away from requiring one of those like berry picking vans that we see driving around where it's just like 16 people in it.
It's true.
And just as a heads up, if you have to get one of those ginormous berry picking vans, there's awesome. I love berries.
It better be
just
because
make sure you
I'm putting
drop
them
some
to
off
work.
every now and then.
And then
I like my raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. Just bring them over. Lots of bushes around here. Just get the kids to drop off the pails at the front door and ring the doorbell, but then run away because of COVID. Okay?
I got rid of the van for a reason. I'm not going bigger. We're cutting down.
Yeah, but it was so good for your back.
It's true. Such an old man.
So while we're on the subject of items, so remember what was this? It feels like so long ago now, but I think it was only 2 or 3 of our episodes ago when Chris was interviewed by Big Class. You remember that conversation? Yeah. And yeah, something like that. And anyway, one of the big subjects, that was a really cool Bay Class interview to listen to. It was very specific. It was about topics that we were all very interested in. And one of the big subjects of contention between the streamers that we're interviewing and the perspective that Chris had of his game was the weight of loot. You remember that?
Yep.
Like basically like there's how you interact with loot is very valuable to, and it's part of the excitement of getting to see your value, right? Like if you interact with 100 crappy items, then you finally interact with that one great item, it adds even more value to the item because it's not like you only found one great item, you found 101 items and only one was great, right? So there's a value and a weight to simply interacting with them. Now, one of the issues that Chris was saying that they're really trying to help the performance of the game with is culling loot. We talked about that previously as well. And they're trying to limit how much loot is dropped, yet they're still trying to find a way to balance that you're still picking up a good amount, or that there's still a bunch of crappy items, just not as much, but you're still going to find that rare good item. One of the memory issues that come across is how much memory those items take up when they drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a coder. I've worked lots in the video game industry, but not from that perspective. I came up with an idea. I have no idea if it'd be something that's capable of happening or not, but what do you think of getting rid of the visuals of items until they're in your inventory? So, you know how now you open a chest, right? And then you actually see the items pop out.
Yeah.
What do you think of just getting rid of all of that, getting rid of that shade, getting rid of those items, excluding like just the visual aspect of it so that there's no, that there's that graphical freedom or that memory freedom, just seeing the item on the ground. So it doesn't get rid of the visuals in your inventory once you've, taken that helmet that's 2x2 and put in your inventory, just in the gameplay itself. Does that have any weight to you?
So I'm trying to understand what you mean when you say the visual's not there. So what do I see when a helmet drops?
Nothing. All you would see is what your loot filter shows you, the text. So all you would see is your loot filter.
Oh, so you mean the
that's all I'm
actual
looking for.
3D version of that thing doesn't show on the ground.
Right. For example, when I'm looking to pick up, whether it's a wisdom scroll, whether it's a tabula, whether it's that mirror that I picked up a few leagues ago that you totally didn't.
Console.
I'm not actually looking at the mirror. I'm not hitting Z. Is it Z or Z in Canada?
Z.
Okay, Z. I'm not hitting Z to get rid of all my items and then searching for my item. I'm 100% when I'm in the game, I'm dependent on my loot filter, and I'm not clicking on the item. I'm clicking on the loot filter text. How do you feel about getting rid of the actual visual representation of the item, the 3D visual representation of the item in the game? Would that matter to you?
Probably not.
I wouldn't. I don't care.
I mean,
well, I don't think I would.
it would be hard. It's hard to say without actually seeing what that would look like, because it is, I mean, seeing the actual item fall on the ground is kind of cool. I don't know that would change gameplay for me at all. I have, yeah, I'm not sure. It would be hard to say without seeing it, but I get where you're coming from. If that would potentially make the stress on the game less, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, it was just something that I was thinking about, because that's a part that he specifically mentioned that eats up how the game performs. And a lot of that stuff is just being hidden by a loot filter. And for me, I don't actually want there to be less items in the game, as long as, I mean, that's a subject that we've previously discussed, but their default filter, or if they even if they made their default filter public, they don't really need to change the amount of items in the game, as long as it's not eating up memory. So yeah, for me, like, I just thought of it because of he was saying there's an insignificant part for me when I'm playing. All I care is about what my loot filter shows. But I don't really want them to make less items in the game. I love that there's 6 really cool base types of two-handed swords with different implicits, that based on the build I'm playing, I'm not always going to go for the same 1 or 2 two-handers. I love that there's a variety of 6 two-handed base types. And if you start culling loot, you have to start impacting how many base types there are at the end of the game.
I don't know if I agree with that. Why? I mean, I think what you end up doing if you don't, which I would rather them not. I also would not want them to remove base types, because I really like them as well. But I think what you do is you just make that maybe it's a little more rare to get the rolls on the base type that you want.
Ooh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. See, but the idea of culling loot is the amount of loot that's dropping, not the good one that's dropping. You know what I mean? So for now, let's say you have 6 different implicits that, rotate through. Okay, so, your first 20 levels, the same 6 base types are dropping with the same implicit, but as you level, they get better, right? So at the end of the game, there's still the same 6 base types with different implicits that tempt different builds. I like that. I want that with wands. I mean, they did. I don't know why they didn't do it with staffs. Every single implicit for staffs is block chance again. So I don't know what. I mean, they basically redid staffs to make them the same way that items used to be, per se. Mm-hmm. But with them redoing how all the other stuff works, hopefully it ends up like the maces and the axes and the swords, the two-handed ones. But I don't see how you can get rid of items without limiting your base types. And I really love the freedom of base types. I love that when I'm editing my filters. I love that when I'm making a build and I could use any two-handed sword, mace, or axe. I love how many options there are. And or if I felt like going crit specific, I just remove 80% of everything. You know what I mean? Like, I just love that concept. And it would really suck if they had to call that mechanic or that mentality to accommodate memory.
Yeah, I agree. I hope they don't ever remove base types. I think, yeah, I like the base types. Also, how would you pick? Like, how would you go through and pick, like, this is the base type we're going to cut out?
Yeah. And especially when you're adding, 18, 19 new ascendancies, whatever it is, like, you need options. You know what I mean? You can't call your base types and then add more ascendancies, because they're all going to be, remember, Dark Souls 1 was awesome. What sucked about Dark Souls 1? If you wanted to do magic melee, everyone was doing the same sword, right? It's the same thing. If you wanted to do, oh my goodness, I'm very embarrassed to ask this question, but what was it called when you did both strength and dex in a build? What was that called in Dark Souls? Not hybrid. What was it called? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you weren't just doing a strength build. You weren't just doing a dex build. It was both. There was a specific term for it, and I feel really embarrassed to ask this. No. Maybe it was. Anyway, but there was one weapon that you did each build because there was just a pinnacle of it. And that was one huge thing that Dark Souls 2 changed. Now, obviously, that's a different series, but when you have a game that revolves around theory crafting, having options available to you where, like, if I'm doing a physical damage build, I shouldn't want the same 2 base types no matter where I am. You know what I mean? Yep. So anyway, I was just thinking about that. Now, on to, do you have anything else to say on that?
No, I agree. I don't want to see base types disappear.
Yeah. So I don't envy their position of trying to cull loot. So, hey, maybe, I mean, I'm not a coder, but maybe my idea works. Who cares about seeing that wisdom scroll? Not I, says I.
No, but the whole idea though is to see less crap, right? Like in the end, you want to see less crap on the screen, even if it fits your loot filter. Like to me, the idea of calling loot is that when the item drops, so in general, there's just less items that drop. Even if you turned your loot filter off, you would just see less items on the ground. And the items that do fall on the ground somehow have a better opportunity of rolling something that's more beneficial. And I don't exactly know the way that they do that, but it's
a slippery slope.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like I said, I don't know the answer to that, but I don't want it to be like, well, just make your loot filter better to cut out stuff, and then you just don't see all of the crap that's on the ground, because that actually already happens.
Well, that is exactly what's happening. Yeah. But hey, for everyone that wants loot culling, get ready, because they're not going to test it in Path of Exile 2. It's get tested beforehand, so PoE 2 is smooth. So get ready and
make sure you get your post ready for Reddit.
That's right. But be edifying, or we will smack you. If we could smack you, we would smack you in a very loving way.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to be so fun.
So what gives an item weight? That was a huge point of contention in that conversation. And it even came down to why scrolls of wisdom and portal scrolls exist. When that Bayclast episode was talking with Chris about items and why this exists and why that exists. And sometimes Chris said, because that's the way I like it. Sometimes he said, maybe it's because I'm traditional. And no matter what the reason is, I mean, we're going to love it and play it. But what is it gives an item weight?
I don't have a clue.
The
idea of something having weight to me is weird, because I don't really have an answer to that. I'm not really sure what I would say. All right, like when you say what gives it weight, do you mean like what? How would I rank them, or what do I want to see more of, or like?
I guess the easiest way that I could describe it, the way that Chris was saying it, is what makes an item exciting for you. Like if you found a great item, but that was the only item you found in your whole mapping experience, it's less exciting than having tried 20 items before that and then finally getting that item. So, it could be like, maybe it's you've had to go through a lot of crappy items to find your item, or maybe it's the interaction with picking up an item from the ground and then putting it in your inventory. For some reason, some people maybe just like moving it into your inventory is what gives an item excitement or weight. Maybe it's the limited amount of space you have to choose between all the good items that are already dropping in your inventory.
I don't think an item ever gives me excitement picking it up unless it's a tabula or something early on.
Yeah.
Maybe the random unique. I don't think there's a single rare that I could ever pick up that would make me excited as I pick it up, because it's not going to matter until it's identified. I can't think of a single rare item that I would be like, oh, yes, because you could identify it and it's just garbage, right?
Yeah.
So,
and to me, that's honestly the same answer I would give you. Like, let's say I'm doing a melee dodge build. Okay, well, I'd get excited for every single tiger hook that dropped that was over item level 84, but I'd only be a little bit excited, right? Like I see, okay, there's the item I'm looking for. Sweet. I pick it up. Okay, well, it sucks and it's not worth re-rolling junk, right? So I'll get a little bit of excitement when I see that item. If I see an influenced item, I get pretty excited, because I am not the type of person to remember any of the actual influence mods per influence. You know what I mean? Like I always got to check the database, unless it's minion that I know I'm going elder. But to me, it's the reveal of the mods that gives an item weight. I don't care about the interaction. You know what I mean? Like picking it up, I don't care about that. Right? The less I pick up, the better. I know I'm playing an RPG, and I know I've criticized you in the past, made fun of you for like, oh, well, I'm playing a loot-based game and I hate picking stuff up. But I don't care about picking it up. It's simply the reveal of the mods. I'm curious how many people agree with us. Because I mean, there's a.
What would be your excitement in picking up the item?
Well, but everybody's different. But so what I'm saying,
maybe when you first start, when you're new to the game, or during the first like 40 levels, there's some excitement to like picking up something that you know has the potential to be good. But end game grinding, picking up stuff is just annoying.
It's the reveal.
And even the reveal, I just want a single friggin' button to do it. I don't have to right click and left click every item.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be neat? I think we talked about this a few months ago now. If you didn't have to, I think they briefly touched on this, but it was called pretty quick by Chris. But if items didn't have to be ID'd, wouldn't that be awesome if in your loot filter you could be like, I only want boots that are 75. No, 75 like life or over. Or
I think you should.
You wouldn't want to do that?
No, that makes it too easy. But what I could see, and this is stealing another idea from Diablo, is make that something in town I click on and it will identify everything in my bags. So like I go talk to Kirik, who's useless, and he like casts a magic spell and identifies all of my items for me. I don't like the idea of things dropping identified because, good Lord, you could make loot filters just broken then. The game would become an ultimate speed meta because you would just not care. You would only pick up when those top tier drops. That's it. So
I probably would never play gameplay again in my life because I would be having so much fun in my loot filters.
No, I don't. Yeah, I definitely don't like that idea. I think it needs to drop unidentified, but I think Scrolls of Wisdom can just piss off and find a new way to identify everything with a single click. Like, it hurts. You play this game for a long time, depending on the skills you use. And I mean, you play a lot on console, which is way better for your wrists and whatever. But on PC,
can you say that again?
Well, it is. It's really good for like old people. Like for yourself.
Oh, dang it, that backfired.
But it is, right? Shoot. Like there's no weird wrist movements. There's no a keyboard and mouse. While I love them, for me, playing any game is so much better with keyboard and mouse. It is tiring. Like I will actually know that I'll start to feel fatigue in my right arm, right wrist, depending on what type of build I'm playing. Every single league, depending on what I'm playing. So just get rid of all that extra crap.
I was paying a little bit of attention today while I was doing my guide writing. I had Brittle up for a bit, and I had Tie up for a bit, and then I had Raise Cutie up for a bit. And at different points throughout the day, guide writing or guide replying took all day today, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And I heard Raise Cutie saying at one, is it Raise Cutie? Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Saying at one point.
Rise
maybe. And I'll just call him Cutie. Heard him saying like, I don't know how much later I'll be able to stay up. Maybe 6 a.m. is probably my max, but I've already been playing for 11 hours today. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I can't, this is my favorite game in the world, right? Like it's the only game I play. We have a podcast about this game and I can't play that long. I can't do one session. I don't even know if I could do that in 2 days.
I just wouldn't want to. I would not want to. Maybe it's because we're old. I just would not want to. And I know it's because I know what's coming when I have to get up after I go to bed. It's not going to be good.
Well, who's the guy who does a lot of Hearthstone videos, but he plays a lot of PoE as well?
Kripparrian?
Yeah. I remember one of his pictures. I think GGG posted it out because I wasn't into Twitter then, because I'm not into Twitter now. I'm only into it because of our podcast. But he posted a picture of himself in like tendonitis bracers or whatever you call them, right? To keep your wrist straight.
Yeah.
Because I think after 3 days, he loved the league so much. After 3 days at this league launch, he had to take a week off. And he had to tell his broadcasters, I guess. I don't really know. But anyway, like I just can't imagine actually playing that much and needing that medical attention off for 2 weeks.
Just like so maybe it's
but maybe it's my concussion stuff. Maybe I just can't handle the screen that long, so I end up fading quick. But hey, you know what? PoE Mobile gonna fix all that.
Oh my God.
All that. Oh, don't you think? Aren't you excited?
No.
I am.
I played it.
You were making fun of me before we started the podcast. And I don't remember doing this, but apparently I had 2 separate I need PoE Mobile.
Yeah, it was written twice in our notes at the beginning and the end. I was like, guy, calm down.
Why do you
need PoE Mobile?
Oh, it's gonna be so fun.
Why?
Because when I'm finished playing PoE, I can play some PoE before bed. Why wouldn't you want to do that now?
What games do you play on your tiny little phone screen besides your stupid God one?
Oh, Godville. Oh, Godville's so awesome.
Literally the stupidest.
Oh, do you want to know how old I'm going to bring it up right now. I'm going to tell you how old my hero is. No, this is going to be great. You should still be a part of my guild. For those that have no idea what I'm talking about,
do not listen to him.
Hopefully you have it in your Play Store. It is one of the funnest games in the world. It's a 0-player game. You don't do anything if you don't want to. It's called Godville. And my hero, named Gary, is 3 years and 10 months old, Justin.
I don't. Besides that, do you play any games on your mobile?
No, I used to play Hearthstone a lot, and my kids really hate that I hate the game now because they miss it.
It's just so small. I just can't handle the phone.
But you know what? One of our Discord listeners blew my mind. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know why it never crossed my mind, but they pay for, or maybe the free version too, but GeForce Now lets you play Path of Exile on your phone right now. And imagine using it as a touchscreen. I mean, you still need a keyboard for stuff like a Bluetooth keyboard, but imagine using like the fine tuning of like just tapping your screen in Path of Exile.
There is nothing fine tuned about your finger on a screen. I can like finely click and drag and move with my mouse with my finger, and they're not fat fingers. You can't finely click and move on something.
Still, that's I never even considered the prospect that I could play PoE right now on my phone for free with GeForce Now. So thank you very much for pointing that out. You keep talking. I'm gonna double check who that was. No, I'm not gonna try it right now.
No, would you actually ever try that?
Oh yeah, you betcha. Bet your buns I would.
So while you're looking that up, I'm just gonna bring up this is why Tyler's items get pushed. I'm just gonna show. I'm gonna read Tyler's suggestion and explain to you why half the time I have to go. Nah, move this to the next one. So as we're talking about Path of Exile, like, semi-interesting and important tidbits and pieces of information, Tyler likes to throw in, why are wands sold by what is that, accessories? Is ACC dot, is that accessories? Why are wands sold by the accessory and gem vendor and not the weapon vendor?
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it, but what does it?
That's amazing.
Amazing? I don't think you're listening.
No,
sir.
It's an amazing. We could talk about that for half an hour.
Why?
Why not?
The wands are like magical. It's like the amulets and the rings, right?
Get out of here.
Anyway,
it was.
I don't know why.
Georgia. Thank you very much. My apologies for not having that ready ahead of time. Thank you very much for introducing me to the concept of GeForce Now for free and playing Path of Exile on my mobile device.
I am
going to try that, and it's going to be great.
Tyler's terrible ideas. Anyway, I don't know why it is.
So while we're on the subject, thanks for bringing it up. What a great guy. What a great co-host. I guess you're the host and I'm just your buddy. But either way, why are wands? I was looking for wands, right? I was trying stuff out with Spell Slinger and other stuff. And so I'm like going through, I'm leveling, and I want to try some stuff out. And I couldn't find wands. I'm like, why is nobody selling wands? They've always been there. I know, but I've never needed to bother looking for them all the time because I forgot. And screw you. Why are those sold with accessories when everything else is sold together?
Because.
So why are wands sold by the gem seller that also sells accessories and flasks?
That's exactly why.
That makes no sense.
Just as much as your question.
It took me like 4 acts to even consider it.
It's always been there. It's always been there.
I know. But I'm not saying how long. That's not the question. No question answer.
You can't switch it now. It's like, you just can't.
It's impossible to change. I'm curious. I want to know why. Somebody
because
is
wand
a lot
is
smarter
a
than this guy.
Item. You cast with a wand.
I love that you are so happy with that answer. If somebody besides the moron on the other side of the screen of me,
rude.
If somebody knows, please shout me a holla done. Yo, let me know. S'il vous please. I would love that. Here's a good one. Here's a gooder. I don't use movement skills with my builds, right? Maybe shield charge, but if I use shield charge, I have 0 movement speed on my boots.
Use phase
shield
run?
Charge. Yeah, I use it as an escape, like with casting damage take in level 1, and then I'll have phase run at 3.
Sure.
It's a nice escape for some, but then they came out with Withering Step, I think it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
And that it basically acts as the same way, but it gives you dodge chance as well, which is nice, but because it's based on elusive, it needs. But I still do like phase run because the phasing stays after you use a weapon or like a skill. You know what I mean? Like the phasing doesn't go away, but the melee. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I don't really use movement skills. So I wanted to ask you, you know that maze portion of the Cyrus boss battle when he puts that maze and you got to follow the stupid blinky lights all the way out because everybody wants to do that when they play PoE. Can you movement skill out of that with one of those teleporting ones?
No, you could use something that maybe moves, like increases your movement speed and move faster to get out, but you can't use anything to bypass the walls. For some reason, they're magical walls. And while you can use movement speeds to teleport across gaps and ridges and mountains, Cyrus's walls are impenetrable. Yeah, no, you have to run around them. I mean, I can see why.
Movement. I guess so.
It'd be a wasted thing. That being said, all of Cyrus's attacks are stupid. I think I don't like any of them, but you can't. As far as you can't get past them. I've tried.
No, that's just wanted to know because I don't use movement skills, and someone was asking on one of my guides, and I actually didn't know because I don't use movement skills. That's one of those places though where movement speed totally won't help me. I'll just crash into I'll get into a rut on one of those maze walls, and I won't be able to get out. It's one of those things where slower will get me out faster.
I've never actually been hit by it. Does it one shot if you don't get out?
It is considered a hit. I've blocked or dodged it most of the time. It actually hasn't really been an issue for me. Every single thing that Cyrus has killed me with has been an off-screen hit.
Yeah, when he does the pulsing laser, that's the worst for me.
Yeah, whether it's because I've already died and I'm coming back into the battle or...
The best feeling ever. Be like, oh, I found him. Oh, okay, another portal.
Well, once with my trigger, yeah, I know, right? You finally find the guy. Yeah. No, I did have one death to him once where my max block character didn't block, and it was what's that? I don't know what they're called, but that one skill where he just does that straight line, and you're trapped in, and you have to dash behind him. Whatever that was, I didn't move fast enough, and I didn't block the hit when it came.
Is it a hit? Because he shoots doesn't he have sends balls or something down the pathway?
I think so, but I've been able to tank that. With that character, I got to the point where I just ignored it, and I'm like, well, hopefully the 21% of not blocking doesn't apply here. But that beam, it's basically the Shaper beam, but I think it's bleed. Yeah, you can't block that. That's dot. It's dumb. Where he teleports off and then shoots you. Yeah. He
says something. There's some audio cue to it, but in the last stage, I think he pulses it 2 or 3 times.
Brutal. So remember last episode, I was kind of confused with the terminology of Spell Slinger. And you mentioned that it also was on a different skill as well, maybe Arcanist brand. Is it Arcanist or Arcanist?
Arcanist. But what's the thing we're talking about?
It sounds dumb when you say it.
No matter which way I said that, you were going to say the same thing.
Of course. But that's just because you're you. So Sean on YouTube helped me out with figuring out what cannot modify the skills of minions means. And it is as literal as it sounds. It's just like a typical PoE misunderstanding. You overcomplicate it before you think about it. So Sean basically just said this skill, Spell Slinger, means that minions themselves can't use Spell Slinger. So let's say you have, I don't know, your, what are they called? Your mage skeletons. Mage skeletons can't use Spell Slinger to cast their stuff, right? They're still going to use their skills normally, right? But what was happening when I was using Spell Slinger, I was using it with, what's it called? Animate Weapon and then Blade Fall. And I saw my animate weapon DPS drop substantially. So I thought that maybe can't modify the skills of minions had something to do with maybe just nullifies all the supports that are linked to it. what I discovered was that Spellslinger has a cooldown, which I noticed, but with how Path of Building works, it took my animate weapon DPS and applied the cooldown to animate weapons attacks, as opposed to simply applying it to how frequently I cast animate weapon. So the cooldown was being applied to the wrong spot in Path of Building, and so I saw my animate weapon, the minion DPS, drop. But when it's attached to Spellslinger, it doesn't actually, once the minion is out, it doesn't attack slower. You know what I mean? So that's where I saw my my confusion prior with Spellslinger really crushing my animate weapon DPS. So I've been having a lot of fun this playing with the difference between Arcanist.
Come on now.
Arcanist brands with animate weapon and blade fall, Spellslinger as another option, cast while channeling, because even though it got thrown under the bus, you can't ignore it. So I've been having a lot of fun this week with it. But anyway, just wanted to show it out there that it's the cooldown. So when you're using it with something like a minion skill, cooldown doesn't apply to your DPS. So you got to do your own math, but it's sweet math. It's PoE math.
You have to do your own math? What the heck?
It's like a beautiful mind over here. I have so many papers with strings and lines attached to it.
Anyone who's ever been in our Discord and seen your drawings knows just how ugly those can get. Was it?
My drawings are beautiful.
It was like your chest.
Right, they're from my mind.
Oh, it was terrible. It was double-sided too.
Oh, so good. And I had a marvelous, oh shoot. Would love to give a shout out to you. So just a quick second. Justin, say something. Say something. Talk for a second.
Do you want me to pull up some of your other terrible ideas that we've pushed?
No.
I'm going to bring this one up.
Don't.
I'm going to do it right now. So,
don't do it.
Talking about the good old days, what did people do for dominating blow before spiritual aid?
We're going to get to that. Oh, and it's going to be great.
My answer? Do you want to know what it is?
Don't you worry about it.
I'll tell you right now. No idea.
I didn't even listen because I was looking something else up. So thank you for spending that time. No, we're pushing that, but don't worry about it. It's because there's so much to talk about regarding that. You have no idea, and I'm very curious to what you have to say about it when you've taken the time to think about it. Oh, I'm so excited for that. We are going to have a Dominating Blows special, and it is going to be glorious.
I can't wait.
Floppy. My apologies for not remembering off the top of my head, but Floppy took the time to put in text my double-sided picture full of the different mods that apply, influence mods that apply to my builds. Also, he discovered that I have quite a few errors on that list where the mods are in the wrong influence section. So that means that I have been probably vendoring a lot of very useful items for my builds as opposed to getting rid of them.
Speaking of people on Discord doing like helpful stuff, I haven't had a chance to read through all of it yet. But today, Malzicor posted a betrayal guide that he wrote.
Yeah.
I got to find a way. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat or something. Cause did you look at it yet?
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote back. I really like it.
Okay. Because that's what nice people do.
You wrote, "That's awesome. Thanks." Oh, good job, Tyler. I'm going to write.
Did I put a thanks with an exclamation mark or a period?
You used 2 exclamation marks. One after his name and one after thanks. You know what that just means? It makes people understand that exclamation mark means nothing to you. Like you'll just throw it out willy-nilly. Hey guys, here's an exclamation mark.
That's a legit thanks. That's what that is.
That's not legit.
So, you know the Val Temple map?
Yes, I do know it.
Okay. So I think I've mentioned this before, but I don't remember if I mentioned it or if I just thought that I mentioned it. So I'm saying it again just to be sure, because it's very important to say things, to be sure that you said something instead of assume you did, but then you didn't. You know what I mean? So it is dumb that the Val Temple map is required to unlock the favorites for the region that it's in. So you know how you can mark certain maps as favorite per region, and you can have up to 3 favorites. To unlock the ability to have favorite or to mark favorites for a region, you have to do the bonus for all maps in that area. So once you've unlocked all, whether it's T15 or 16 as the max for that region, once you've done the bonuses for all those maps, not the Awakener bonuses, just the map bonuses, then you can start marking maps as a favorite. For some reason, Val Temple is a required map to do the bonus for that region, and that's really lame.
Yeah, we did talk about this, but I don't. Maybe it wasn't during the episode. Maybe it was in After Dark or something.
Maybe,
because I do agree with you. It sucks that that's part of what has to be done, but I do find that they've made it a whole lot easier to get the Val Temple now, at least a little bit than before.
Is it valing any T16 map? Because it used to be just valing the Guardian maps, right? Before Cyrus existed, you could only get it from valing one of the 4 Guardian maps. And then if it switched, you hoped that it switched to the Val Temple. But is it any T16 now?
Yeah, I think it is. But it's also, you can get it through Xana. You can get, like, I didn't get mine from valing it this league. I actually got it quite early. I don't remember exactly where I got it from, but they have made it easier to get. But it is kind of unfortunate that it's one of the ones required for that section.
It is. I think it's awesome that it has value to part of the bonuses that Atlas provides, but for it to be required to unlock favorites for that region, that just sucks. Anyway, because I'd like to, there's certain maps in there that I want to favorite so I can get those hideouts, but nope, can't do that because I'm not getting any. Yeah, easy, right? Easy.
Yeah, right. Agreed.
Maybe it is, but I haven't had it yet. Since 3.9, I haven't done it.
What? So, yeah. Really?
Well, you know how, I just got 36 Watchstones now, right? So that's how frequently I'm playing that portion of endgame as opposed to leveling or testing new stuff out. But still, 3.9, going through, valing my stuff to get all my bonuses, nothing.
Wow.
So maybe it's just bad luck.
Or low skill.
You know, it is probably my...
It's the way you val them.
Skill level of valing my rare maps. That is likely it.
Yeah.
I should look for a YouTube video that's like, hey, how to val maps.
Not necessarily how to val maps, how to apply a val.
Maybe it's a console thing, like you've been saying all along, right?
Probably.
Maybe it's the button as opposed to the right click.
Oh my God. How do you val an item? How do you apply currency to an item in console? Do you have to click? Like, do you have to go to the, do you D-pad around on the currency tab?
Oh man, so it's so easy. It's just like ABXXX squared, respect.
No. If I want to get to an alchemy, so I open up the tab, the
currency tab.
Sure. Let's say I even get to the currency tab first off, because I'm sure that's a whole job. But let's say I get to the currency tab. How do I get to the alchemy shard or the alchemy, orb of alchemy?
The fastest way?
Yeah.
So you can flick the right analog stick that sends you to the far side of whatever tab you're on. So if you're in your character inventory, you flick the right analog stick once, it sends you to the very far side of your inventory. Flick it one more time, and you're in your stash tab or whatever tab you have open on the right. So that's the fast way to skip from screen to screen that's open. I mean, like you said, you can use the D-pad or the left analog stick to just slow. On the right? Yeah, it is. Or I mean, whatever tab you have open is what I'm saying. So if you have your stash tab open, you flick the right analog stick and it automatically takes you to that crafting rectangle right in the middle of it.
Okay. And then how do I get to the orb of alchemy from there?
Or down to quickly jump to the top or bottom of the screen. But then you manually use D-pad or the analog stick to get to that item. Then from there, you hit A to use it. I mean, I don't know what it is on PlayStation. I think X is the bottom, but you hit A on the Xbox to use it. And then you can use your right analog stick to quickly go over wherever you have your item or your map. And then you can hit X to use, let's say it's an alteration. You can hit X to use it repeatedly so you don't have to process multiple times.
So once you've clicked it once, it will continually apply that if it can be applied? Like an alteration?
Yeah, X is like the keep this selected, I'm going to use it. And every time you hit X, it's reusing it. So it does stay held per se. A is used once. So items like an alteration an alchemy or a val, it won't have the X option. So they have a lot of really cool shortcuts, but obviously it's not right clicking.
Right.
And holding shift or whatever it is. But they've done an awesome job with it. If you ever secretly tried it out, I think you'd be impressed. You'll never consider it a PC equal, obviously, but I think you'll be more impressed than you currently think you would be.
Probably not.
We're gonna have Jeff. We're gonna have Jeff on, our Canadian console buddy. Jeff.
I think I told you this, or maybe not. I didn't tell you this. I would love to have him on. And only because I just want him to tell us that he also prefers it on PC.
Oh, wouldn't that be horrible for me?
He does. Are you kidding? He does. I'm telling you right now, for Jeff from Grinding Gear Games, he prefers PC, but he gets money for working on console.
You know what? We'll have to go on a streak of interviewing GGG people or pretending that we're interviewing GGG people and ask them if they like the console version.
Well,
some will have to say yes.
Every single one of them would say yes.
Right, I know. So how do you get an honest answer?
Would you rather play it on PC or console?
That's a good question.
It's a pretty obvious question.
We're going to have to start keeping a tally chart.
Oh, you don't want to see that tally chart.
I do.
No,
I do. Because I'll be happy with just one. I'll be happy with just one.
I don't think you'll get it.
Oh, watch. Both co-creators. They're in, or I guess it's all three, right?
I think
I guess it's all four.
It's a part of working for Grinding Gear Games is that you understand that console is just there to appease a small amount of people. But
I am happy to be there.
You are there. You definitely are there. Along with about three other people. I've heard from them. They like to message me and tell me.
We are fantastic people.
You are fantastic people.
I got to say, though, do you miss Pita Pit? I miss Pita Pit. Like going there.
I go there with other friends quite often. every Tuesday night.
Oh, man, that hurts a lot. Dang.
I haven't been out to a Pita Pit type place in a long time.
Oh, it's been forever. It's been pre-March, really.
It's March.
But like, I mean, with those tables, though, there's no way we could even go during COVID. Those tables are so small, we're almost making out.
Most of them close I don't know what Pita Pit does, but most of them have the tables like actually pushed off to the side and you can't. Like Quiznos, that's what they do.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, no seats there.
Quiznos used to be our Pita Pit, but it's been Pita Pit. Anyway, I miss it, like hanging out there, talking about going to be how our last episode went, what our next episode's going to have.
Yep.
Little business chit chat. I'm looking forward to that again in 2023.
Yeah, well, let's give it a couple of years.
Yeah.
All right, I think it was about wraps up episode 40. So real quick, before we do our outro part, make sure if you're not on Discord, hop on Discord. We'll have information in our announcement section regarding the upcoming private league we're going to do. Again, this is just a Forever Exiled thing. We won't be promoting it far and wide, so it probably will not be a huge group of people, which is really fun. It's going to be hardcore solo self-found anyway. But yeah, we're going to have two winners. And you could be the winner of both if you're just like a super awesome person.
I can?
Oh, I didn't mean you. There's a good chance neither of us will ever be even close. I just want to be on the first page. That's all I want.
Wow, you upgraded fast. At the beginning of this episode, you just didn't want to be last. Now you want to be on the
I'd like to be in
page.
the top 5, realistically.
Okay. You know what? That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us for episode 40 of Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
You can catch more information down below for our show notes. We have a website, foreverexiled.com. We are on Twitter at foreverexiled82. We have a Discord link below. If you want to find more information about our Patreon, you can find that below. For our patrons, we'll catch you in After Dark after this. And for everybody else, we'll catch you episode 41. Going to be a super sweet one. It's our 3.11 interview episode. So we're both pretty pumped for that one. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys.
Yeah, and don't forget about that dominating blow special we're going to do.
I'm going to research that.